In this module, we will continue to talk about HR strategy. I hope you people recall that in the last module, we talked about a couple of definitions of HR strategy. And we said that an HR strategy has some contents. But the question is the issues about the contents. First, we talk about the contents and some related issues in the contents. Before we talk about the contents, let's see that what we have. When considering HR strategy, it is important to bear in mind that there are three linked areas. What are those three linked areas? The first is HR strategy content. As I said before, the content means the strategy itself, black and white strategy itself, the policies, procedures, and practices to manage the human resource in an organization. This is the content. For example, what would be the reward system? What would be the training system? When you would be offering training to your employees, whether or not, what time you would be paying to your employees for the services they have offered to you, and so on. So this is the contents of HR strategy. Do you have a different strategies for different group of employees in an organization? There are some core employees, there are some administrative employees, or there are knowledge workers in an organization. Do you have a different HR strategies? What is that strategy? That is the content of the strategy or HR strategy content. The second is HR strategy process. Now that is very important. Just like we talked about a strategy in the past, how a strategy is developed. Similarly, how HR strategy is developed. What is the process? What is the process through which HR strategy is developed? Who develops an HR strategy? When it is developed? So we are talking about this refers to process or processes of developing HR strategy. And the third linked area in HR strategy or about HR strategy is its implementation. You have the content, that is your HR strategy. You have the process of developing an HR strategy, but at the end of the day, it is about implementation. So when we talk about the implementation, process, and content, there are some issues, or there are some something or some perspectives that need to be considered, or there are some limitations we need to understand. So HR strategy content refers to the nature of the HR strategy itself and its constituent elements. When we talk about the elements, we are talking about the actual HR strategy. So the content of any organization's HR strategy will be heavily influenced by a range of internal and external factors. External and internal factors. This is what we have discussed in the last chapter, that an organization is heavily influenced by some external factors and some internal factors. An organization HR strategy is influenced by those factors. An organization HR strategy, for example, is influenced by the external environment, and that external environment could be the supply of labor. And the type of supply and the type of labor supplied from the external environment or from the market. For example, the Google goes to the top universities in the United States, and they take up the people who have performed or their performances in the top 5% of students. They have an external, this is an external thing, that what they get from the external market, or what type of employees or people they can hire for their organization. The internal factors is the kind of business environment, and in that particular business environment, what kind of practices are needed to boost up or to engage their employees in the work. For example, if the creativity is the central or key feature in particular business, then you cannot confine an organization, or you cannot confine the employees of an organization to work when you want them to work. Rather, you let them work when they want to work, because everybody works differently or might be able to have a creative ideas or creative thoughts in a different pattern of times. When we are talking about the external and internal factors, they heavily influenced about the strategy development, or what an organization can think about, or how they manage their HR. Thank you.